Oh, so it says we are live. I'm going to give it a couple moments to kick on here, and then you guys are going to have to tell me if you can see, if you can hear me, all that good stuff. So be sure to check in, sound off. If there's a problem, let me know. And I'm enjoying the beverage talk and the aromatherapy talk. That's good stuff, guys. That's good stuff. I like it. See and hear. Thanks, Foo. Really appreciate it. All of you guys, great to see you. We'll let everybody kind of roll in. It's good to see everybody. The sound is echoey. Hopefully that will fix itself. I'm in actually a pretty non-echoey room, so hopefully it won't be too bad. So how's everyone doing tonight? Happy Tuesday evening. Limits number of comments. Yeah. So if you make too many comments at once, YouTube will kick on and it'll kind of put you in timeout for a moment or two. But then you'll be able to go and you'll be able to take care of it. Oh, well, again, I hope everybody's having a great time. I've been working on a couple of different things lately, actually working through some of the backlog of guns going on right now. And I've been working on the P10F video. And I kind of remarked a little bit about what a surprising difference the P10F was, especially walking, getting through some of the P10S stuff. And I made some assumptions, and you guys know I have no problem admitting when I make an assumption and it's not right, or my preconceived notion is just not on par with what's really going on. And I have found that P10F is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a big gun. It really is. I don't have it out right now, but it's been really enjoyable, which is great. And I've had a good time with the P10S as well. But the P10S hasn't quite surprised me, and I haven't taken to it as much as I have the P10F. Totally the opposite of what I thought would happen. I really thought the P10S would be really the one, man, especially because I like that size gun quite a bit. But it's shocking the different things we discover as we start shooting guns and dry firing them and just handling them and that sort of thing, and learning what you connect with. So I want to know what if you guys have had any revelations like that. If you've started out thinking one thing about a firearm and all of a sudden it's a totally different thought after you've spent some time with it, whether good or bad. I'm always curious about that sort of thing. Kentucky just passed a law, right to carry without a permit. That is awesome. Congratulations. Very cool. I still like the idea of a permit. Kansas does the same thing. You can open carry without a permit, but I like the permit. I think it's good. Plus, it speeds up the gun buying process, so a little bit of an advantage there as well. But I enjoyed the class. I thought it was educational, and it was just kind of cool. Brian H. just sitting around checking out the gun I picked up today from Centerfire. Do tell, my friend. Do tell. I want to know what you got. Did you get the Archon? I think they still have one. If you didn't, you need to run back there and get it. Foo, send the P10S down here. We'll see what we can do, brother. We'll see what we can do. Kathleen, music lover, having weak ejections with my P09 was shooting MagTech 115. So a couple things I would suggest: switch up the ammo. You might find a difference there. MagTech generally runs reasonably well for me, but you might just kind of play around with some different things and different grains as well, and see how the gun reacts to that. Give it a really good cleaning. See if you can clean the extractor a little bit as well, even if just the sides or whatever. I mean, just kind of see if you can clean that up a bit. Pop's Quest, good to see you, my friend. I can always tell you're here. There's never any doubt in my mind. Dustin is saying, how are you liking the PSA? Well, which one? So if it's the AR that I did the 3-part series on, I love that gun. That is absolutely a fantastic gun. For the price, I struggle to find something better than that. I mean, it was what, $545 without the magazines. And that is a screaming deal. So, if you're thinking about doing any sort of a build, or you want to buy something that's basically pre-done and ready to go, PSA, I mean, I think they do a very good job. I hear mostly really good things, and usually the criticism is the shipping time. Sometimes it takes a little while for them to get guns out. I've been playing around with this guy right here. This is not the AR, not the 223-556. It's actually a 9mm, and ordered this from PSA as well, ready to go. And it took a while for them to ship it to me. I mean, I think it was probably a 2.5-week wait, something like that. It was in stock. So their shipping can be a little bit slow, but once everything gets rolling, you know, you get the notification that it went, you get the tracking number, so you know what's going on, and you can always check on your account online. So you get at least a little bit of feedback, but I really have been very impressed so far. Bald and Curious, good to see you. Always thought Glocks are crap, and then I got a Glock 48, and now I think Glocks are overpriced crap. Oh, Baldy. You know, I'm a fan of Glocks. They probably are a little bit overpriced, and you always have to do stuff to them. I totally agree with that and fully admit it. But I enjoy Glocks for what they are, and they've always been pretty dependable for me. So, Brian Wilmoth, hopefully I'm pronouncing that okay. Just had that very experience with the XDS. Too heavy going back to the SIG P365. Very interesting. I've done the XDS, and I thought it was an all right gun. It wasn't the most impressive to me, but I like the ergos and the sight line up on it quite a bit. But that 365, man, they're good little guns, no doubt about that. CW Hunter, I thought I would like the P07 since I shot the P01 so well. Had to sell it. I just didn't like it. You know, I'm the same way. I don't connect with the P07 or the P09 very well, but I love the P01, the P01 Omega. It's one of my favorite guns in the collection. And I think that just goes again to sometimes you think you're going to really like something. The P07, I think, has fantastic ergonomics. And so my mind tells me I'm going to love this thing. And for whatever reason, I just don't connect with it as well as some people do. Fu is saying the Archon is on sale for $7.99. I'm telling you what, guys, I'm a little bit of a champion of this gun. I freaking love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's a phenomenal firearm. My $7.99, I think it's totally worth it. I know a lot of people would argue with that. There are a lot of other good options, and there are, but I think the Archon is a fantastic gun. In fact, I want to know, I've been thinking about doing it if I could only have one with that, but it's in an odd place because it's got a longer slide. It's got the same slide length actually as the P10F. I mean, it really is. It's a long slide, but it's got a short grip. I mean, it's 15 rounds. So I'm kind of curious to know what you guys would think about it if I could only have one on that, what you would like to see. Pops is saying PSA took 3 months to cancel an order once. Yeah. Again, I mean, that's kind of the sentiment that I've been getting about PSA. I mean, their stuff is good, especially for the money, but sometimes their behind the scenes stuff can take a little while. Joker 3421. This is for Bald and Curious. Grand Power sucks. Change my mind. I will tell you, Bald was nice enough to send me, I think it was the P11, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a phenomenal firearm. I was very impressed with it. That's my only experience with Grand Power, but it left me yearning. So at some point I'll do an Excalibur. I mean, that's always been on the list. So we'll see. I'll try and sweet talk Bald out of that, but who knows? All right, Jim Rowe just bought a Kimber Micro 9. Very interesting. Congratulations. I would be curious to know your experience with that. I hear a lot of good things. I hear a few bad things, but not very many. And that's about the same with almost any gun. So I'd be curious to know your experience. I think they have some really cool ones. Those Raptors look pretty sweet. See, Kim, what's an assault weapon? That's a good question. Something that none of us have. Eric Davis is saying 76, referring to 1776 or bust. Got me hooked on Steyr. My S9 is a very comfy and easy gun. Those S9s are awesome. They are awesome. Yeah, Pops, you need to get an Archon, dude. Seriously. Is your 6? Good to see you. Mika, let's see, since PSA uses UPS mostly, then packages that eventually go by rail via FedEx sit in a UPS rail facility outside Chicago. They tend to sit there for 3 days to become batched bundled. Interesting. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, again, it took a little while to get this thing. I mean, it was 2.5, almost 3 weeks, but it was worth the wait. I'm actually okay with that. That's not too big of a deal. And considering the price, again, I'll show this for a second. If you guys follow Kotaboy, he posts a lot of those deals of the day for PSA for Palmetto State Armory, and I happened to look through his website for the deals of the day, and I found this, and it was $569, and it was regularly, I think, $769 or something like that. So it was too good of a deal to pass up, and I really wanted to do a 9mm AR. I wanted to build one, but this one it was ready to go, and it was the right deal. So I'm excited to really get into it. Excuse me. Scott saying the PO1 got him hooked on CZ. Can't blame me, man. Can't blame me at all. Live free or die. I know what you mean about connecting with a gun. Bought an M&P 2.0C thinking I would love it and just didn't care for it. Prefer my Glock 19. Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. Now, I love both of those guns. I struggle on a daily basis thinking which one's the best. In fact, I've been kind of playing around with the Smith & Wesson a little bit lately. It's such a good gun, especially with that Apex trigger. But yeah, you know, Glocks are they're not the best looking guns out there or anything like that, but they run typically, and you can just mod the heck out of them, which I think is a lot of fun. So you can really kind of dial them into your needs. So I've always appreciated that about them. Brian Ripple, have you shot the Gen 526? I have not. I've held one many times, and the one thing that really kind of drives me nuts, you'll know, I've got actually another P80 that I'm working on. There's a surprise coming with that later on down the road. This doesn't have finger grooves either. And even though I like these P80s because there's so much grip texture, that is one thing I still struggle with. My Gen 4 has finger grooves here, so it gives me just enough leverage to where this can be comfortable even with a flat magazine in it. I mean, you guys notice there's just not much there. So you've got to be able to depend on something. I mean, a firm grip, obviously, and good grip texture. But hang on, guys. I'm sorry. That's the one thing about being in the Apple universe. Your phone kind of connects with everything in the house, and so you can't go without getting a call every once in a while, unfortunately. Paul picked up a new G19 and G26 in FDE a few minutes ago. Congratulations. Very cool, man. Very cool. Pat 8473, how would you compare to the CZ P10S against the HK VP9 SK? Your thoughts on that? Although I don't have the SK anymore, I had to move on for other firearms for the channel. I loved that gun. That's a phenomenal gun. And every time I pass one, I'm like, oh, I really want to get back into one. And I will at some point in time. Just doesn't make sense right now, testing some other firearms and that sort of thing. You know, it's a sacrifice, unfortunately. But pitting the two together, at least where I am right now, I'd go with the HK. Those HKs are so incredibly ergonomic, and they've got good triggers. The triggers are not as good as the P10s, I will say, but otherwise, I think their construction is fantastic, and they are pretty close in size. So you're not really giving or taking one way or the other. And I'd probably lean towards the HK a little bit, which is shocking to say because P10s generally I really like, and this P10S I like. I just don't like it as much. Oh, let's see. Johnny Danger, good to see you. Whatever came of your Hudson H9 after the issue you had with it? Well, and I talked about that in that video, and it's been over a year now since I made that video, which is pretty wild. But you know, after I was not able to reconnect with their customer service, their gunsmith who emailed me and then disappeared. I mean, would not talk to me again within minutes after emailing me. It was the strangest thing. I tried for weeks to get in touch with them and get in contact with them, and with basically nothing back. And at the time, there was no phone number to call. It was only email. And I kind of felt stranded with this $1,000+ gun. And Frontier Justice, I've got a couple near me, one in Lee Summit and one in Kansas City, Kansas. They have a very unique return policy. Or at least they did. I think they still do, but they did at the time. Within, I think, 30 days, you could bring back the firearm as long as it's in good condition, and they will give you your money back in store credit. So they won't give you cash or anything, but store credit. And I took advantage of that, something I never thought I would do. I mean, the whole design was to have that Hudson forever because I was so excited about it. And when it shot brilliantly. But unfortunately, I had so many malfunctions and issues, random issues with it. And I have no problem blaming myself for issues, causing malfunctions, that sort of thing. But shooting it quite a bit, having other people shoot it, having people watch me shoot it, and then also having video, a lot of video footage of me shooting it, technique-wise was good enough to make that gun run. I don't have the best technique by any stretch, but good enough. And for whatever reason, I couldn't make it work, so it had to go. I couldn't sit on what was otherwise basically a paperweight, and that's kind of what I called it, which was too bad, and I hated doing that. I know Bald, I don't think I did. I don't think I killed Hudson. I hope not. I hope there aren't any hard feelings there. I was just trying to tell the truth as I saw it, as we often do. Brian Parker, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. That's absolutely huge. I sincerely appreciate that, brother. It means a lot. It truly does. Mika Archon B, hoping that the street price drops down to 720 or below by the end of the year. It might. It just might. I don't know that it would drop much more than that, and I think it's really worth it. I think it's got a very solid construction, 4 magazines, a lot of extra toys, a pen. It comes with a pen. Don't forget. But I really think it's well worth it. Now, admittedly, I've had to do a little bit of Dremel work back here, just a tiny bit of it. It took about 10 seconds and a very light touch, just kind of a scrape by real quick, and then polished it out just to get rid of a tiny little edge right here that bothered me a little bit. And now the thing is butter. It is absolute butter. So MD Polo, thank you very much. Really appreciate it for the next Hudson, whatever that Hudson might be. Very nice of you. Really appreciate it. Johnny Danger saying, shame on Hudson, biggest hype failure. Here's the thing, and I said it in the video. I've been saying it all along. I had hoped that they would succeed because I think they had a brilliant idea. I think the execution needed a little bit of refinement, as many guns often do. And I probably didn't communicate that very well in that video, but there were some things customer service wise, I think they probably could have done better, at least in the beginning, especially being a new to the market company. That helps instill confidence with people, especially in the early days. But again, I think they needed a little bit more time to refine things before it really hit the market and hit it big. So, hopefully that's a lesson that other manufacturers will learn. NC Civil War, good to see you. Scott saying, I shot a rental Hudson at one of my local ranges. It shot like crap. I'm editing, by the way, just in case. It would not group at all. That's one thing I heard a lot of. A lot of people were saying that the Hudson, and this is not, obviously it's the Archon, but a lot of people were saying that the front sight was sitting, I think it was probably too high because people were grouping low consistently, especially as they got out to about 10 yards to 12 yards. It would just group pretty low. I was trying to think. Somebody had a really good video about that, and now I'll think about that in a little bit. But it was pretty consistent. Mine shot relatively point of aim, point of impact. But yeah, it just had too many malfunctions, unfortunately. Beretta 9mm USA, good to see you. I carry my revolver. What gun is that? I don't know if you're referring to this guy right here. This is the Archon Strike B. Fantastic firearm, by the way. Foo, if I hadn't just bought another PSA AR9, congratulations, and another CZ, I would have jumped on the Archon B. It's just going to have to wait a minute. Yeah, and they're going to be around. I mean, they're certainly out there. Again, Centerfire Shooting Sports, they've got one right now. At least they did the last time I was there. So I would jump on that. I totally would. Give them a call. Romans, yes, no, I did quit the Hudson. That is very true. Had a question about it a little bit earlier. Harry, good to see you as always, my friend. I need to get you on this chat, by the way. We need to talk about that. CCAM is saying it's very expensive for a small company to come out with a new firearm, without question. And I think that's something that companies have to kind of prepare for. But you're absolutely right. There's no question about that. Scott is saying, do you think the new polymer FK Bruno is a gimmick gun that is still overpriced with very expensive proprietary ammo? I don't know enough about it. I mean, I know about the FK Bruno. You guys know Honest Outlaw did one, and we've talked a fair amount with him about his experience. I mean, it sounds like a beast of a gun and an incredible experience to have. Is it a gimmick gun? No, I don't necessarily think it's a gimmick gun. Is it a niche gun? Yeah, probably. But we've had other niche guns around, so that it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. But it's something that's probably out of reach for a lot of people. It's out of reach for me for sure. KPQ9, good to see you. Thanks, really appreciate that. Let's see, Fu Master, always have to aim at the top of the targets, and that's only at 15 yards with the Hudson. Yeah. Again, I've heard that multiple times. And I think that's just a matter of getting the right front sight or right rear sight on there. And I think that goes into that testing and, the refinement and making sure everything is exactly the way it is supposed to be. MD Polo just got a Colt 1911 Gold Cup national match, a U.S. Shooting team. Very nice. 1 of 500 made. Congratulations. That sounds freaking cool. I'm assuming a 45 on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Eater of Words 78. Eater of Words. I like that. Have you had the chance to try out the Honor Guard? I haven't. As the channel started kind of ramping up, that's when all the feedback came out that the Honor Guard was having some pretty serious issues. Now, buy into the hype or not, that's up to you. I generally don't, but it kind of gave me a little bit of pause. And I've learned with the P365 that sometimes when a gun gets overhyped and there's so much knowledge, good, bad, or otherwise, take that for what it's worth out there, that sometimes it's good to lay back a little bit. That's why I stopped making videos on the P365. I did what I wanted to do with it, and now it's gone. And it was just, I kind of don't want to, go down that road again. And those videos, I still get enough comments per day on those videos and a variety of different things. People say good, bad, or otherwise. I just, when there's drama like that, I'd rather stay away from it and enjoy some other guns. There's so many other options out there, but maybe someday. Joker 3421, which one of you, and that's my brethren from Wednesdays, 1776, Big J, and then me, was the first on YouTube? It wasn't me. I was the third. I think it was 17. I think he was the first one on YouTube. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to hear about it later. I cannot remember. But I was the third one on YouTube. And I think we all started kind of around the same time. I mean, I think it was months between when we each joined. Bald and Curious, did you see the new FK Bruno 7.5 comes with a 9 or 10 millimeter conversion barrels? That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool for sure. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to do one really, really quick thing here. Sorry about that. I was getting a text from work. Had to take care of something. The pesky work. Yeah, Harry, we will definitely work that out for sure. I saw a comment and then it disappeared a second ago. I've got to go back and find that. Psycho Looney, KS just found just a few more weeks until the 6-hour X Compact comes out. Really waiting for it. You and me both, man. I'm really excited for that one. That is definitely high on the list. And Steve B, the Mossberg MC1SC, yes, it's still on the list as well. We've had a hard time getting it here, unfortunately. I know Frontiers had one or two, but Centerfire hasn't been able to get one yet. At this point, and I've said it before, now that the initial wave is out, I'm not as in a hurry. I mean, I love to be, kind of among the first if I can to get a couple of guns out there. That's kind of fun and exciting, even though the chances that you miss something is a little bit higher as well. But once that first wave is gone, then you kind of grab it when you grab it and go. But I am definitely wanting to try it for sure. Hey, I say FK Bruno. It rolls off the tongue, Bald. Carl Thornton, just been new G2C. I'm assuming you just got a G2C. Congratulations. Good guns. I like those. Harry's saying, I thought what they were doing, offering the 9mm conversion, is smart. To look at the RIA offering with their oddball caliber. Yeah, I agree with that as well. It makes it more palatable for everybody else. I mean, there's still the upfront price with the gun, and that can be a consideration for a lot of people. But a 9mm conversion, I think it's smart too. Excuse me. Johnny Danger, is there a gun company you hope brings another pistol to the market, and what would you like to have? There are a couple actually. I would love, and this is, you'll laugh at this, I'm sure, but I'd like to see Steyr and HK release single stacks. I think that would be pretty cool. I would have fun with that. You guys know that I really enjoy single stack guns, although I don't connect with all of them very well. I enjoy them, so I think that would be pretty cool to see. Channel Cat Chaser smooches back. On that note, I'm going to drink. And yes, this is water. Romans, my outreach, my out of reach, I apologize. Want gun is the CZ Shadow 2. I just want to shoot one once. Stop by. We'll go to the range. You can shoot mine. It's well worth it. It's a great experience. Just holler. Will W, KSGG, initial thoughts on the Mossberg pistol. Yeah, yeah, we were just talking about that a moment ago. I've held one briefly, but I mean, it felt pretty good in the hand. I didn't really get to play with it because it was a transfer for somebody else, happened to be at Frontier. But you know, I won't really know anything until I actually get to shoot it, and also kind of go through my process. I mean, one of the things I really enjoy doing when I get a gun is I'll sit on the couch and I'll dry fire it a lot. I'll handle it a lot. I'll just get a feel for how my grip goes with it, if I need to make any adjustments or anything like that. Some kind of pre-range studying, so to speak. So I want to get it in my hands and kind of play around with it. MD Polo, yeah, it's a 45 ACP. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, that sounds like a really cool gun. Jim Rowe, where can a brother get the Archon for under 800? Somebody answer him. I think Centerfires is 850 because there just aren't that many, so it's a little bit more expensive. Harry's saying just need to move to Asheville. I'll tell you what, Harry, it's funny. If there was anywhere in the country I could move, it would be Asheville, North Carolina. It's one of my favorite places in the country. Absolutely love it. The Biltmore Estate, I've enjoyed that time and time again. I carry my revolver in single action. The SIG 365 comes with a safety now. I did not know that. That's very interesting. Well, they probably got some feedback, or they probably had plans to have one for one reason or another. I don't think it needs it, but you know, some people are really into safeties. I get comments periodically that say I will not buy that gun without a safety. So, I mean, there's a market for that. Yeah, Kevin Bond. As soon as I can, man, I'll get. It's one of the tops on the list, the Mossberg pistol. So as soon as I can, I will do it. Donald Worthman, Shield 43, Glock 26, or 365. If only one, which one? It'd be between the Shield and the 26. You've stumped me. I don't know. It'd probably be the Shield. It would probably be the Shield. I mean, I love that gun. Now the 26, I'm falling very much in love with as well. This is actually a new Polymer 80 I've been working on. You'll see it's got a Gen 4 slide on it right now. I just finished all the fitment and a little test firing with it. It went together super easy, so I'm excited about that. But there will be more on that at a later time, working with a new company on that one, so I'm excited. Alaskan Ballistics, good to see you, brother. Brett, a 9mm. He's giving his dad a lot of credit. He's just the shooter, editor, director, and camera guy. Well, you do an amazing job, and you're a hell of a shooter, I have to say. You really are. So a very talented young man. I wish I could shoot like that. Scott saying bring back the HKP7. I agree. That would be really cool. Ian, good to see you. Very good to see you. Live free or die. I'm eager to see if that Beretta APX single stack rumor is for real. That would be cool. I'd be down for it. You guys know I like the APX. They were good guns. They were not forever guns for the channel, as many are not. But I was very impressed. Now, if I had been able to do it over again, I would have done the full size and then the Centurion, not the compact. The compact I liked okay, but the Centurion feels a little bit better in my hand, a little bit more grip, a little bit more like a Glock 19, something like that. But they are good guns. There's no doubt about it. And they actually have better triggers than you think too. Johnny Danger is saying HK is long overdue for a double action, single action with a great trigger. The P30 and USP are meh. The Alien versions are a bit better. I agree. The P30 I like okay, and I had a P30 SK. It was the V1 LEM, and it was a good gun. It was not a great gun, and I wish they could just refine it a little bit more, especially shorten up that reset, and that would be the same across the board, and then I'd be very happy. Okay, Romans, I'll holler at you, buddy. I'll bring the shadow. Mountaineer marksman. I'll admit I molest all my new firearms for a while. Then up out them wet in the safe. Then up out them up wet in the safe. I hope I'm saying that right. But yeah, no, I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of us want to just have that tactile experience before we hit the range and just kind of really get to know it, especially dry firing and getting that sight line up and getting comfortable with it. That's something, I mean, that's part of my ritual. I do that with every gun. Now, I don't dry fire double action, single action, or 1911s very much unless I have snap caps. But strikers, I'll dry fire the heck out of them. Joker 3421. When are the 43x 48 15 round mags releasing? I'm not sure yet. You guys know Shield Arms has been playing around with a couple of different things, the 15 round magazines and also magazine extensions. And I have ordered one of those. I think they're still on pre-order right now, but I imagine we'll see those before too long. Pops is saying Asheville is liberal. Yeah, it is, but it's a beautiful city though. I mean, it really is beautiful. A music lover saying, anyone concerned about all these gun laws? Always, without question. Glockaholic P365 pocket pistol with a safety. Yeah, again, I'm not on board with the whole safety thing. Oh, Young Guns, Biltmore yearly pass holder. That's cool. I mean, it's incredible. I remember the first time I went there as a kid. I was like, I have to live in this house. It's the coolest thing ever. Ian is saying Hickok just reviewed the Mossberg MC1. I need to check that out. He releases a lot of videos. They have not been catching my attention as much as they used to, and I don't watch as much YouTube as I used to either. Just more stuff with the channel I'm trying to do, but I will definitely go check that out. Jeff is saying, KS, do you have carry-ins? What does that mean, carry-ins? You'll have to explain that. C. Kim is saying you can't put a G26 in your pocket. You can with the right pockets, believe it or not. Dave Gass, it's all good, brother. Good to see you. Jim Rose saying another good shooter is Honest Outlaw. If it's just opinion, but I think he's one of the best out there, certainly on YouTube. He's phenomenal. And it's not because he's a buddy of mine, even though that helps. But he's tremendous. He is tremendous. He's easily one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Johnny Danger, do you have the same faith in polymer 80 Glock builds as you would with an actual Glock? No. And I said that in the initial video, and it's funny, now that I've spent more time, I'm working on my 8th right now. I've refined, I think, the skill a little bit. They go a little bit easier. They go together a little bit better. There's less fitment and that sort of thing. So I think I'm dialing in on the process. However, I would still say no. And that's because I built the thing and I'm not perfect. And so I know these Polymer 80s, there is a chance at some point they will fail. And some of them have failed many times in the very beginning. They've had to work out kinks, and all of them run well now. But no, I would say stock over P80 any day of the week. And I know some people that carry P80s, at least frames, and sometimes slides as well, of various sorts. And the slides on a stock frame, that doesn't bother me very much. But you know, when you're putting together all of your own stuff, the tolerances, the variances, you know, enough things that could potentially go wrong, even if it's just a minor malfunction, that could be a serious issue. So for me, no, they're fun guns. They're just I guess the pride of building something and having it be yours and kind of an expression of something you're into. That's the whole reason I do all of that stuff. And I love showcasing all the different options and bells and whistles and that sort of thing. Glockaholic, where's Big Johnson? I don't know. He said he was going to try and stop by if he can. Daniel, God is my judge. KS, what do you think of the Shadow 2 Cadet 22 long rifle conversion? Is it worth 431? You know, I haven't tried it. I know Big Johnson has. I don't know. I've never tried one. I'd like to at some point. I think it'd be cool. I don't know if it's the same feel, the same trigger feel, or anything like that. If anybody has any experiences with that, you know, be sure to let him know. But 431. I mean, that's a pretty penny for sure. Alaskan Ballistics is saying, as a Glock fanboy, the Beretta APX is a better gun out of the box. It's got a lot going for it. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's certainly an interesting looking firearm. Some people don't like the big serrations as much as others. I think it's fine looking, doesn't bother me. The trigger is good. It is a good trigger. It's not the best out of the box, but it is good. I mean, it's solid if nothing else. I carry my revolver in single action. You doesn't seem like you're a Democrat. I am absolutely the opposite of that for sure. Kathleen Music Lover, firearms molester. Well, if you have to have a title. Ah, put them up wet. Okay, I see. Mountaineer, that makes sense. Fair enough. Fair enough. Scott saying going to get the Beretta 92X. Oh, that's a new one. I think I saw a video about that. Did I see? I saw a video about that the other day. I can't remember who did it. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I think the Langdon tactical one looks pretty cool as well. I'm not a huge 92 fan. I will be doing a M9A3 this year at some point. Good friend of mine has one, so it's just a matter of the right timing for that. But I think the Langdon one actually looks pretty cool. Jesse B, good to see you. I shot my AR-15 pistol for the first time today. You were right. They are a lot of fun. Oh, man, absolutely. They are a ton of fun. Carl Thornton, I play with all my guns. Good man, good man. Bert the Builder, have you checked out the Canik Elite? Yes, very early on in the channel when it first came out. I've gotten actually videos on the Elite, the TP9 SFX, and then of course the Combat Elite, which I still have. That's a great gun. I've enjoyed Canik. I think they make good guns for the money. I really do, and their triggers are phenomenal. Mateo, good to see you. You carry your 26 build, but it's gone 400 rounds trouble free. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's just I struggle getting there. I probably could. There are probably a couple that I could, and the 26 actually would be one of them. And this one's been flawless as well. And you can usually tell when you start doing the final fitment, getting the slide on and all of that, and getting the trigger working. And by the way, this trigger is just a little Apex trigger, but I'll tell you what. Watch this reset. This reset is crazy, and this is just the luck of the draw. How short that reset is. That is pretty darn cool. And again, it's luck of the draw. It's tolerances and variances and all that sort of thing. Some triggers have turned out to be not all that great, and some have been just phenomenal. So it's an odd deal. See you, Johnny Danger. Brett 9mm. KS, thanks, man. It took me years to get where I am as a shooter. I used to shoot fast and miss a lot. My dad told me over and over again, slow down. It's funny. I need to do that too. I've kind of gotten to a place on the videos because I think I like faster shooting on videos. I just do. And so I've probably developed some pretty bad habits. And I've been shooting for whatever, close to 40 years, not quite. And it's easy to develop bad habits. So you're a model for good technique and good habits. So keep it up. William Keller, KS just picked up an MIP 2.09C 3.6. Do you like these? I do. I mean, I've got the 4-inch version of that. And they're basically the same gun, just a slightly different slide length, but they're tremendous guns. Now, I recommend, and no, I don't. I make no money by Apex. I mean, I believe in their product quite a bit. Throw an Apex trigger in there; it'll change your world. I assure you of that. So, just a friendly recommendation. Yeah, Joker. I wish I had a range in my front yard like Honest as well. That would be freaking cool. And he is an awesome guy. He's fun to just talk to. Bert the Builder picked up a Sig P320 over the Apex. No shame in that at all. What's this? I carry my revolver in single action. Do you look at Instagram Gorn? Uh, I don't know what Gorn is, but if you were trying to say porn, no, didn't even know that was a thing. I look at gun pictures on Instagram. That's kind of where I get my gun fix. I like to see what everybody's into. I carry my revolver in single action. What would be the absolute last state you would move to? I mean, no offense to anyone at all, New York. And then again, it's nothing to do with the people or anything like that. I just don't have an interest. Even though I live in a medium-sized city, it's as big as I would want to get. If I had my choice, I would actually downsize a little bit and go to a smaller city. And New York, that end of thing. I mean, I've traveled back east, not specifically to New York, but to Boston and places like that, and fun to visit for a moment or two. But I couldn't do it, man. Fausto 47. I hope I'm saying that right. Do you like shooting with suppressors? Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Mine is still in jail. It's been in jail since last May. So I'm hoping to see this stupid tax stamp here in the next couple of weeks. When the government shut down, it put everything behind, unfortunately. Gun porn. Yeah, yeah, gun porn I very much like. Yes, gun porn's good. That's where I get a lot of ideas, especially for Polymer 80. I like to see what other people are into. And Instagram, people seem to really be migrating towards Instagram. And you guys know I've got a channel. I mean, it's a great place to see what I'm previewing, even though I'll admit I only post about once a week tops. I try not to overload it and share too much, but just little sneak peeks here and there. Gorn, yes, gun porn. Okay, now I know. You guys teach me so much. Everybody's teaching me. This is how far behind I am. Daniel KS just got Jin schooled. Jin, really? No, I'm familiar with Jin. Fafasto, I have Fort Center Fires Jail. Yeah, I read you, brother. I read you. Hopefully they'll be coming out soon. Holler at me next time you're there if I'm there. Corey is saying, what kind of suppressor did I get? It's an Omega 45K, and I chose that because it'll go with basically any pistol caliber within reason. And then I can also throw it on a 300 blackout if I want to, even though I don't have a 300 blackout. It's still an option. If I could do it over again, I would have actually gone with just a 9mm, a much smaller can. But still, I like the flexibility. It's fine. It does what I need it to do. Keith is saying, did you install the Apex triggers yourselves on your guns? Some yes, some no. Did the FN 509 tactical? I don't recommend doing that on your own. It's awful. That's not a fun experience. And I actually thought I broke the gun a couple of times. And then I did the shield. I did not do the M&P 2.0C. I had my gunsmith do that one. Just lazy, perhaps. And Smiths are a little bit finicky. I mean, once you get used to them, they're not too bad. The only problem is, unlike Glock, it seems like Smith & Wesson, the more times you get those pins in and out, the more it degrades them and the plastic around them. And again, Glocks, you can kind of take apart as many times as you want. I've never had a problem with them. But Smiths, I think they actually suffer a little bit every time you take them apart. At least that's what I've noticed. So it's just kind of food for thought. Tango 24, thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel and the chat. Alaskan, good to see you, man. I carry my revolver. You're coming up with some interesting questions. Thank you, by the way. Everybody, if you have questions, let me know. They're saying Apple or Android. So I made the switch right before I started the channel. This would have been in kind of fall of 2016. I had been an Android and a Windows user for all of those years prior to that. And I switched the entire house to Apple. So I got the iMac and the MacBook Pro and iPad and iPhone and that sort of thing. And there are pros and cons to both. But for editing, for what I do, especially for the channel, the iMac has been tremendous. I absolutely love it. So I'm kind of in the Apple universe, so to speak, and I don't envision getting out unless they just absolutely start to suck. So I made that choice. Jeff, do you have carry insurance? I actually do not. I don't. I just have good lawyers. A lot of good side conversations going on here. What other questions do you guys have? Now, I don't remember if anybody said anything. I didn't see anything in the comments, but I asked everybody earlier. I was thinking about it if I could only have one with the Archon. What would you guys like to see? And I want to try and stick with stuff I have in the collection right now, if possible. But I would be curious about that. What would you guys like to see? Brian is saying, I'm starting a collection of only one favorite gun from each manufacturer. That's very interesting. Just curious, what would you choose from Glock, SIG, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Walther, Springfield? That is a heck of a list right there. A Glock, I mean, I'd go Glock 19. If it had to be all stock, I'd go Glock 19. SIG Sauer would probably be a P229. I like those quite a bit. Smith & Wesson, it would probably be an M&P 2.0C, if not some sort of fun revolver of some sort. Ruger, I don't spend enough time with Ruger, to be honest, and I probably should. I haven't. I mean, I did that Security 9, and I've owned a couple of SR 1911s, and they were very good guns. I might opt for something like that with Ruger. I enjoyed those. Walther, that Q5 steel frame match is pretty awesome. I would probably stick with that. Springfield, probably a TRP or an Elite Operator 9mm or something like that. Their 1911s are pretty good. Foo Master saying, I love apple pie. I do too. Okay, I'm getting some suggestions, you guys. Thank you very much. So Foo is saying Archon versus CZP01. Well, that would be a very interesting if I could only have one, that we would be taking advantage of the very different gun policy in that video. But that's an idea. Pistol Pete saying Archon versus the Dan Wesson. That would be tough too. It's funny. I still haven't shot the Dan Wesson yet. I'm so far behind on guns right now. I'm still looking probably a month out before I get to shoot that gun. But that's a possibility. And then the Archon versus the Glock 19. That would probably be a pretty realistic, if I could only have one. I would have fewer haters calling me out and saying that the video is terrible because I chose different guns. And I do get that from time to time. I think the one that's the worst is the Shadow 2 versus the SIG P320 X5. I get a lot of hate for that one for whatever reason. So, but all very good suggestions. Jim Rose saying Archon versus P19F. Was that P10F? I'm assuming you mean. And I actually was thinking about that tonight because I was working on some of the editing for the P10F video for this weekend. So I thought about that. Rocco is saying Archon versus Hudson H9. If I still had it, the Frontier still has my old Hudson, I think, as a range rental. So if you're ever near Hudson in Kansas City or near Frontier Justice in Kansas City, Kansas, I think you can shoot my old gun there. So wander over there and say hi to those guys. Pistol Pete, do you still have the Walther SF? If so, are you going to put a new trigger in it? There was never plans to put a new trigger in it, but actually it is now gone. And that was by design. That was not going to be a keeper. I really wanted to keep that one. That was a great gun, even though I kind of chewed it up a little bit in the video. I mean, it really is a good gun. But that it just was not part of the grand design. So there are some other guns I have that scratch that itch, the Shadow 2, the TSO, the SPO1 Shadow Orange. So the Q5 just, it didn't make sense. Buffer Zone, good to see you. Paul is saying Archon versus G19, no question. And that might be the way it has to go. I don't know yet. We'll see. Romans is saying review a Walther PPK stainless. I know it's been around, but I like it. Yeah, those are pretty cool, actually. That's a thought. I may end up doing one. Brian's saying that's cool. Thanks for your channel. It's very enjoyable. I'm a fan. Good night. Good to see you, Brian. Thanks, man. Ian is saying, what's the recoil handling difference between your pistol AR build and a regular AR stock 16? Well, so mine's a 10.5 inch. I don't know that makes much of a difference in terms of recoil. I mean, I'm a noob. I haven't spent enough time behind either platform really to gauge that. But in terms of functionality and everything else, I mean, mine's all basically mil spec. It's, PSA, just kind of standard run-of-the-mill parts. But function-wise, I don't think there's really much of a difference. Everything is in the same spot. All the controls are in the same spot, and it's performed flawlessly. So, it's not as upgraded or as tweaked as some guns can get, but I mean, it certainly does the job. And I don't think there is a recoil or handling difference or much, to be honest with you. Mountaineer is saying people like apples to apples. You're exactly right. And I try and stretch the boundaries a little bit because I designed that series to be able to, at a whim, kind of do whatever I want with it and try some different things and push the boundaries a little bit. But you're right. There are people that really don't take very kindly to that. So I have to weigh the pros and cons of doing that. Kathleen is saying CZ48 versus the Glock P10. That would be a good one. Wasamata, what's your honest opinion about the Archon? Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Ian is saying Overwatch or Apex. Apex every single time. There's no hesitation there. And I've done both. I mean, I've got a couple of Overwatch triggers and guns right now. And I like I call it the Falx, but I think it's the Fail X. I like the feel of that one. That one's pretty good. It's in my Glock 26. You probably saw it in the video this weekend. The TAC trigger, I've got it in that Nomad Defense Loki build that I did. There's a video out on that. I don't care for that trigger quite as much. And I like flat triggers. But Apex, for whatever reason, there's a consistency there and a feel there that I really like quite a bit. So I would prefer Apex. Jeff is saying, what's on your carry belt? When I'm carrying, and I can't carry at work, unfortunately, but when I'm carry a firearm, and that generally is the shield, but I do mix that up from time to time with some others. I've been carrying the Glock 43X in one of Harry's holsters. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Harry's holsters. But then I've got a light of some sort, usually a little O-light. And then a knife. I've been carrying a Gerber assisted opening knife. Actually, no, I don't have it on me right now. So I'm clearly not carrying my knife with me, but it's pretty basic stuff. I try to travel pretty light. Now I keep things in my bag and keep things in my car, that sort of thing. I know not everybody agrees with that. You should have everything on you, but generally where I am, it doesn't make sense to do that. Pistol Pete saying, I want to see if Walther puts that new trigger in the Polymer Q5 from the factory. It'd be cool if they did. They aren't right now. I will tell you that. Sam is saying Archon versus G19, but G19 with upgraded sights and magwell. But see, here's the thing. That's the other rub. And that's why on the video this weekend, I made it very clear in the very beginning that the trigger portion of the video was done totally stock, because some people get really bent about that. And they say that I'm a whatever fanboy or a whatever tard or whatever because I have some aftermarket part, even sights. Some people get really bent over sights. Especially on Glocks. Well, you had to put sights on it, so that gun sucks and all that sort of thing. So I do try to be a little bit careful about that. Or if I'm going to have a gun that's been modded, I want to have both guns be modded so it's even. That's important to me too. That's why the Shield and the 43X, they were both modded the same way. So to me, it was apples and apples. But again, people, they get pretty sticky about that sort of thing. Build a P80 to go against the Archon. I pray, so it's funny. I've got the Glock 34 P80 that I haven't put on video yet. And I actually thought about that as well. But then again, it goes back to the same thing. People will be saying that is totally unfair. You have not a real gun, even though it is. And not a real gun versus the Archon and that sort of thing. Plus, I would struggle with that a little bit because the P80s, there's a little bit of me in those guns. So there'd be probably a little bit of bias, whether I could help it or not, even though I love the Archon. So I don't know. That would be that'd be tough. I carry my revolver. The door behind you just opened. Oh, that's funny. Although it would be really weird. Nobody else is here right now. All right, we have time for probably one, maybe two more questions. Steve B was saying, just looking to keep the round count down on my early imported CZ75 TriStar fit the bill. TriStar makes good guns. I was really impressed with that T120. I really was. That was a good gun. I like the look of it as well. REB, when is the STI gun coming? It's funny. I was talking with Big Johnson earlier, and he asked the same thing. That, like the Dan Weston's, a little bit further off. There are a couple of guns I need to get out. The P10's coming out. P10F is coming out this weekend. I've got those Diamondbacks I still need to work with, and those have to go back to Diamondback. So a little bit of a commitment on those. At least I want to get the shooting and all the video. I don't have to release them yet, but I want to at least get everything done with it. And then I could start working with the 1911. So I'm very excited. In fact, I'm kind of dying to get to try that. And I sort of want to try another STI. I want to try a double stack, probably the Staccato P, and see which one I like better. But that also is way off in the distance, and that's a lot of money too. So we're not quite there yet. Young Guns is saying Archon versus SAR 9. You've been pushing that SAR 9 for a long time. I have yet to see one, but I every time I see SAR 9, I think of you. Pistol Pete saying, how do you like the Holosun? So far, so good. I've been pretty impressed. I've put a few rounds through it. Right now I've got it on the Nomad defense and Loki tactical build, and it's been running really well. Time will tell. I want to spend a little bit more time with it. I'm pretty rusty, so to speak, at the red dots, so I want to kind of reacquaint myself a little bit. I mean, I'm an iron sight guy, generally speaking, so I have to retrain my brain a little bit. But so far, it's been pretty good. It hasn't lost zero or malfunctioned or anything like that. So more thoughts will be coming at some point in time. Mike Joseph, hey, KS, can you do me a favor and just send that P10C to my FFL? Wait, no. Sorry, but no, can't have it. Prepper Gun Shop has the SAR 9S for cheap. Good to know. Good to know. Oh, P10S. Yeah, no, you can't have it. Sorry. You should start seeing them more very soon, though. I'm surprised they're not more out there now. NC Civil War, what has been your number one comparison video to date? Actually, that's the 365 versus the Glock 43. It's about 350,000 views, which blows my mind. Very humbling. Yeah, it's the most popular, and I get a lot of interesting comments on that one. But the P365 and the Shield video is number two. So clearly, there is still a lot of interest in the 365, which just it astounds me. I mean, it's been out for not quite a year, but pretty darn close. And I mean, I guess it came out SHOT Show of last year. But there is still so much talk about the 365, and sometimes a video that's totally unrelated to the 365. Somebody will say, "I'll just take a 365 instead." So, I mean, that speaks pretty highly, even considering all the things that SIG went through with that gun. So I have to give them credit for that. I mean, you know, they made headlines. There's no doubt about it. Jeff saying, what's your favorite carry belt? That would be Blue Alpha. Always Blue Alpha. I've got a video out there somewhere on it. See Kim saying P365 rocks. You're not alone, man. A lot of people say the exact same thing. So we have time for one more. I carry my revolver in single action. Why do you not have a Patreon? You know, I've thought about it a few times, but I like to keep my stuff free. I would rather people just turn on YouTube and watch my videos, enjoy them for what they're worth, get information or be entertained or whatever. So I don't do the Patreon thing. You know, that may come down the line at some point, but I like the free content idea. And I also like to go out and enjoy free content. So, you know, I'd feel a little bit like a hypocrite if I did a Patreon. Okay, well, guys, I know there's Young Guns. I know you've got another question, but it's 8 o'clock. We should probably stop and hold on to that question for tomorrow night because we're going to be back. And I think it might be on my channel with Big Johnson Guns and Gear in 1776 or Bust. We should have all three of us tomorrow night. So do be sure to tune in for that. But you guys, as always, thanks for hanging out, man. This is so much fun. I enjoy these solo chats. This is something very different, of course, but you guys are amazing to hang out and spend a little time with me. And you guys are brilliant. I learn stuff from you every single time. So it's always humbling, and I enjoy each and every one of you guys. So cheers to you all. And I will definitely see you maybe next Tuesday, if not the Tuesday after that. But we will be in touch soon, guys. Be safe and have fun. Later.